Hello, my name is Gary, and I was raised in the Western United States, so I'm a native English speaker. I hope that you will enjoy this YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us.
IELTS reading sample. Going bananas. The world's favorite fruit could disappear forever in 10 years' time. The banana is among the world's oldest crops. Agricultural scientists believe that the first edible banana was discovered around 10,000 years ago. It has been at an evolutionary standstill ever since it was first propagated in the jungles of Southeast Asia at the end of the last ice age. Normally, the wild banana, a giant jungle herb called Musa acuminata, contains a mass of hard seeds that make the fruit virtually inedible. But now and then, hunter-gatherers must have discovered rare mutant plants that produced seedless, edible fruits. Geneticists now know that the vast majority of these soft-fruited plants resulted from genetic accidents that gave their cells 3 copies of each chromosome instead of the usual 2. This imbalance prevents seeds and pollen from developing normally, rendering the mutant plants sterile. And that is why some scientists believe the world's most popular fruit could be doomed. It lacks the genetic diversity to fight off pests and diseases that are invading the banana plantations of Central America and the smallholdings of Africa and Asia alike. In some ways, the banana today resembles the potato before blight brought famine to Ireland a century and a half ago. But it holds a lesson for other crops too, says Émile Frisson, top banana at the International Network for the Improvement of Banana and Plantain in Montpellier, France. The state of the banana, Frisson warns, can teach a broader lesson. The increasing standardization of food crops around the world is threatening their ability to adapt and survive. The first Stone Age plant breeders cultivated these sterile freaks by replanting cuttings from their stems, and the descendants of those original cuttings are the bananas we still eat today. Each is a virtual clone, almost devoid of genetic diversity. And that uniformity makes it ripe for diseases like no other crop on Earth. Traditional varieties of sexually reproducing crops have always had a much broader genetic base, and the genes will recombine in new arrangements in each generation. This gives them much greater flexibility in evolving responses to disease, and far more genetic resources to draw on in the face of an attack. But that advantage is fading fast, as growers increasingly plant the same few high-yielding varieties. Plant breeders work feverishly to maintain resistance in these standardized crops. Should these efforts falter, yields of even the most productive crop could swiftly crash. When some pest or disease comes along, severe epidemics can occur, says Jeff Houghton, director of the Rome-based International Plant Genetic Resources Institute. The banana is an excellent case in point. Until the 1950s, one variety, the Gros Michel, dominated the world's commercial banana business. Found by French botanists in Asia in the 1820s, the Gros Michel was by all accounts a fine banana, richer and sweeter than today's standard banana, and without the latter's bitter aftertaste when green. But it was vulnerable to a soil fungus that produced a wilt known as Panama disease. Once the fungus gets into the soil, it remains there for many years. There is nothing farmers can do. Even chemical spraying won't get rid of it, says Rodimiro Ortiz, director of the International Institute for Tropical Agriculture in Abidan, Nigeria. So plantation owners played a running game, abandoning infested fields and moving to clean land, until they ran out of clean land in the 1950s and had to abandon the Gros Michel. Its successor, and still the reigning commercial king, is the Cavendish banana, a 19th century British discovery from southern China. The Cavendish is resistant to Panama disease, and as a result, it literally saved the international banana industry. During the 1960s, it replaced the Gros Michel on supermarket shelves. If you buy a banana today, it is almost certainly a Cavendish. But even so, it is a minority in the world's banana crop. 500 million people in Asia and Africa depend on bananas. Bananas provide the largest source of calories and are eaten daily. Its name is synonymous with food. But the day of reckoning may be coming for the Cavendish and its indigenous kin. Another fungal disease, Black Sigatoka, has become a global epidemic since its first appearance in Fiji in 1963. Left to itself, Black Sigatoka, which causes brown wounds on leaves and premature fruit ripening, cuts fruit yields by 50 to 70%, and reduces the productive lifetime of banana plants from 30 years to as little as 2 or 3. Commercial growers keep Black Sigatoka at bay by a massive chemical assault. 40 sprayings of fungicide a year are typical. But despite the fungicides, diseases such as Black Sigatoka are getting more and more difficult to control. As soon as you bring in a new fungicide, they develop resistance, says Frisson. One thing we can be sure of is that Black Sigatoka won't lose in this battle. Poor farmers who cannot afford chemicals have it even worse. They can do little more than watch their plants die. Most of the banana fields in Amazonia have already been destroyed by the disease, says Laudir Gasparotto, Brazil's leading banana pathologist with the government research agency Embrapa.
Production is likely to fall by 70% as the disease spreads, he predicts. The only option will be to find a new variety. But how? Almost all edible varieties are susceptible to the diseases, so growers cannot simply change to a different banana. With most crops, such a threat would unleash an army of breeders, scouring the world for resistant relatives whose traits they can breed into commercial varieties. Not so with the banana. Because all edible varieties are sterile, bringing in new genetic traits to help cope with pests and diseases is nearly impossible. Nearly, but not totally. Very rarely, a sterile banana will experience a genetic accident that allows an almost normal seed to develop, giving breeders a tiny window for improvement. Breeders at the Honduran Foundation of Agricultural Research have tried to exploit this to create disease-resistant varieties. Further backcrossing with wild bananas yielded a new seedless banana resistant to both Black Sigatoka and Panama disease. Neither Western supermarket consumers nor peasant growers like the new hybrid. Some accuse it of tasting more like an apple than a banana. Not surprisingly, the majority of plant breeders have till now turned their backs on the banana and got to work on easier plants. And commercial banana companies are now washing their hands of the whole breeding effort, preferring to fund a search for new fungicides instead. We supported a breeding program for 40 years, but it wasn't able to develop an alternative to the Cavendish. It was very expensive and we got nothing back, says Ronald Romero, head of research at Chiquita, one of the big 3 companies that dominate the international banana trade. Last year, a global consortium of scientists led by Frisson announced plans to sequence the banana genome within 5 years. It would be the first edible fruit to be sequenced. Well, almost edible. The group will actually be sequencing inedible wild bananas from East Asia because many of these are resistant to Black Sigatoka. If they can pinpoint the genes that help these wild varieties to resist Black Sigatoka, the protective genes could be introduced into laboratory tissue cultures of cells from edible varieties. These could then be propagated into new disease-resistant plants and passed on to farmers. It sounds promising,
But the big banana companies have until now refused to get involved in GM research for fear of alienating their customers. Biotechnology is extremely expensive and there are serious questions about consumer acceptance, says David McLaughlin, Chiquita's Senior Director of Environmental Affairs. With scant funding from the companies, the banana genome researchers are focusing on the other end of the spectrum. Even if they can identify the crucial genes, they will be a long way from developing new varieties that smallholders will find suitable and affordable. But whatever biotechnology's academic interest, it is the only hope for the banana. Without it, banana production worldwide will head into a tailspin. Questions 1 to 3. Complete the sentences below with no more than 3 words from the passage for each answer. Write your answers in boxes 1 to 3 on your answer sheet. One, banana was first eaten as a fruit by humans almost 10,000 years ago. 2, banana was first planted in Southeast Asia. 3, wild banana's taste is adversely affected by its hard seeds. Questions 4 to 10. Look at the statements, questions 4 to 10, and the list of people. Match each statement with the correct person, A to F. Write the correct letter, A to F, in boxes 4 to 10 on your answer sheet. NB. You may use any letter more than once. Four, a pest invasion may seriously damage banana industry. 5, the effect of fungal infection in soil is often long-lasting. 6, a commercial manufacturer gave up on breeding bananas for disease resistance. 7, banana disease may develop resistance to commercial sprays. 8. Banana disease has destroyed a large number of banana plantations. 9. Consumers would not accept genetically altered crops. 10. Lessons can be learned from bananas for other crops. Questions 11 to 13. Do the following statements agree with the information given in reading passage? In boxes 11 to 13 on your answer sheet, write true if the statement agrees with the information, false if the statement contradicts the information, not given if there is no information on this. 11. Banana is the oldest known fruit. 12. Gros Michel is still being used as a commercial product. 13. Banana is the main food in some countries.